Again, we've got the roof closed here at the ballpark. Threat of thunderstorms in the vicinity tonight. Umpires are on the field. The lineup cards have been exchanged. And Paul Molitor's Minnesota Twins looking to make it 2 in a row over the Blue Jays, coming off a 3-game sweep at the hands of the Kansas City Royals. They feel a little bit better about the way things went last night. Joe Mauer had a good night at the top of the order, 3 hits including a double. Eduardo Escobar had a productive night last night, and he has been a thorn in the side of the Blue Jays this season and going back to last year as well. Max Kepler with a home run in last night's game as the Twins banged out 13 hits.
They also homered in the ball game last night, so that is the job of Ryan Borucki tonight to shut down that offense. Recalled from AAA Buffalo today and is making his 5th major league start. He's coming off his shortest outing of the season. Last time out against the Boston Red Sox, he allowed career highs in hits, runs, earned runs, 4, all that in just 3 innings. So he went down to AAA to get an extra roster spot around the All-Star break to give him a little bit of a blow, if you will. He threw a couple of sides on the 19th and the 22nd of this month to get ready for this start. It was just paperwork shuffling around so they can get an extra player up here. So Borucki will get the start tonight against Minnesota. First time that he has seen the Twins in his career.
And while he continues to warm up, a chance to take a look at the defense behind, or in the case of Russell Martin, right in front of Borucki tonight.
Yeah, and I think Russell becomes a very important guy for Borucki tonight. He'll throw to Russell, and Russell does a good job with Borucki, making him use all of his pitches, and he makes him really work that curveball in there. It's a hard breakable. It's a cross between a curve and a slider. More of a slider type of thing, and Russell does a good job working with young pitchers, and he'll have to do it again tonight.
An experienced, intelligent hitter to get it started here for the Twins. Joe Mauer, as he faces Ryan Borucki for the first time in his career. Mauer hitting .285 on the season, and looks at a fastball pumped in for a strike to get us going here at Rogers Center. Mauer started last night's game with a double off the left field fence, had a couple singles after that, and then 2 groundouts. And as you can see, we talked about it last night, you got to play him straight away, Tabby. He uses the whole field.
Well, it's really interesting as you see the infield pinching him in the middle, but the outfield shading him a little bit towards left. He's never faced Ryan Borucki before. It's a left-hander. You know Joe Mauer's going to stay on that ball a long time and just try and shoot it right over the shortstop's head.
A little bit outside, 2 balls and a strike. I'm sure Joe Mauer and all the Twins have looked at video or have been given a scouting report that says, hey, that changeup's pretty good. He will use it often. A lot of lefties don't use their changeup as much to left-handed batters. They go more fastball breaking ball to the lefties and fastball changeup to the righties.
You're right, and Borucki's not afraid to use that changeup at any time.
Right.
He'll throw it to lefties, but don't forget about that breaking ball. And I think that's the point I wanted to make with Russell, that he forces him to use that slider, which is his 3rd pitch.
Fouled off, 3-2. Joe Mauer asking the home plate umpire, Hunter Wendelstedt, who's a 2nd-generation umpire. His dad was a long-time big league umpire. Joe Mauer wanting to know if that pitch would have been called a strike had he not swung at it. Travis to his right, and has plenty of time to get Mauer 1 down. Let's take a look at some interesting numbers, Tabby, because we talk about how the changeup is such a weapon for him, and the slider or slurve, whatever you want to call it, is a developing pitch. Yet look, now this is only 4 starts, look at how poorly the opposition has done against that slider.
He'll throw his fastball the most percentage-wise, and they're hitting the highest number against that, 339. Then the changeup, the pitch that he doesn't throw a whole lot, is that slider, and they're hitting 143 against it. Pete was telling us today, the pitching coach for the Blue Jays, Pete Walker, was saying he'll throw that slider and he'll throw it for a purpose. He's not just throwing it just to get it over the plate. He's throwing it with a purpose into certain areas, and he's had a lot of success with it so far.
Yeah, use the phrase strike to ball breaking ball, meaning rather than Borucki wanting to throw it for a strike, he wants to make it look like a strike, but it's actually going to wind up, say, down and away from a lefty or just down to a righty. And he also says he can vary the velocity on that slider. It can be 78, it can be 81. There's one of them right there at 79. And a soft fly ball into right field, 2 down. So Pete Walker's really encouraged about some of the tweaks to that slider and the progress that Borucki's making with it so far.
Hey, anytime you can change speeds with an off-speed pitch, you throw one harder, you throw one softer, it just adds to what you can use to get good major league hitters out. His bread and butter right now are fastball, changeup, but don't forget about that slider.
And he misses outside, ball 1 with a fastball to Brian Dozier, the Minnesota second baseman, hitting .223, 16 homers, and as we mentioned last night, the subject of some trade rumors, number of Twins, number of Blue Jays. It's that time of year right now. The Twins, like the Jays, not exactly where they wanted to be in the standings. They're 45-53, 8.5 back of Cleveland.
They have really shut down Brian Dozier this year. He was leading off the first time we saw them back at the end of April, beginning of May. One of those types of players early in the ball game can give you the lead with one swing.
A broken back ground ball to the left side. It will be Travis cutting in front of Gurriel with the shift on, and they make the play. Remember the collision between Diaz and Gurriel? No collision here, and it's a 3 up, 3 down, top of the first for Ryan Borucki. As written in there tonight in the middle game of this 3-game set, right up at the top of the order, Curtis Granderson has had a lot of success in his career against Minnesota pitching. 25 home runs in 102 games, and there are scouts here tonight looking at Curtis Granderson. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., 6 straight multi-hit games, hitting over 500 in that stretch.
He's looked very comfortable at the plate recently. They will face the ace of the Minnesota Twins tonight. 21st start and appearance of the season. This is Jose Barrios. He's an all-star. Made the all-star game for the American League this year, the first of his career. He leads the Twins in wins, innings pitched, strikeouts, and quality starts. He pitched 1 inning in the all-star game, just faced 4 batters and had a walk. He's got electric stuff when he is on.
Just 24 years of age, as Tabby mentioned, with a big arm. Won 14 games last year. This is his 3rd season, 2nd full season in the big leagues, and he's coming right at him. He's working quickly, throwing fastballs, and he's jumped out in front of Granderson 0-2.
That's what he will do. He'll get ahead with that fastball, then drop that curveball on you, and it's a hard, sharp curveball.
It's funny how different guys, their 94 looks different. That looks like more than 93, 94.
Yeah, it doesn't really light up the radar gun when you look at that. Oh, that looks like it's 97 or 98, but I'm sure spin rate has a lot to do with that. Just like Jay Happ's 93 or 94. For some reason, the opposition just can't come up with it. He can throw it right by you.
Fastball in on the hands of Granderson. And backpedaling to make the catch is the shortstop Polanco for the first out. Let's check out the rest of the defense for Minnesota.
Made some great plays in last night's game. Let's highlight Brian Dozier. You touched on it, Dan, at the top of this inning. How long will Dozier be a Twin? Trade rumors have been around for this player. He's a good player. Boston, we've heard that team. We've also heard the Milwaukee Brewers. He is a very good second baseman, an offensive second baseman, and a darn good fielder, too. Twins have to make up their mind. Do they go for try to get into the wild card conversation, or do they start selling off some of their players?
Actually closer in their own division than they are in the wild card race, the way things are looking, but still 8.5 back of the Indians. Here's Lourdes Gurriel. Hit his 5th home run of the season last night. There's that big breaking ball from Barrios. Gurriel, as we've mentioned, 6 straight multi-hit games, 122 plate appearances. Tabby, he's only drawn 3 walks. Now, one of them was last night. But man, it is hard to be a tremendously productive, to be a really productive hitter when you rarely, if ever, walk. And maybe that'll come over time. And John Gibbons talked before the game about what a key it is for him to not expand his strike zone, to not chase. That when he chases, like all hitters, he gets in trouble. But if he only swings at strikes, he's an awfully good hitter.
That's where all the strikeouts were coming his first time through with the Blue Jays. Pitchers started expanding just a little bit more. He started swinging at everything. And believe me, the word gets around very quickly.
Nasty breaking ball there to get him 2 down.
He will throw that hard breaking ball with 2 strikes a lot. They're only hitting 157 against that hard curveball this year. He has made mistakes with it this season. There's the opposition versus the curveball last year compared to this year. There's only 4 pitchers in baseball who have a lower average against the curveball than Barrios, and it's a sharp, late breaking curveball.
Fastball in for a strike. 0-1 on Justin Smoak. What a good night last night. 3 hits, 2 singles, and a double, hitting .248 now on the season. Smoak was kind of chuckling about that double into the right field corner with a shift on. Remember, Taylor Motter, the second baseman at the time, went almost all the way to the warning track to try to catch that ball. Smoak has never seen that done against him before. Fly ball to deep right center, and the ball's caught up against the fence. The Twins go into the 4 outfielder alignment against Justin Smoak in this first at bat. And the ballpark just barely did hold that fly ball.
Connection with Jay Happ when he first met the veteran left-hander in Dunedin back in 2013. Happ was rehabbing from a knee injury. Borucki was coming off Tommy John. Happ said he would always ask the trainers about the talented young left-hander. He said he always wanted to know where he was at with his throwing program and wanted to really follow his progress closely. Happ knew the organization held Borucki in high regard, so he said he made a point of keeping tabs on him. The two reconnected this past spring. Happ was impressed. He said Borucki looks like a totally different pitcher from 2013 to now. He has definitely matured. It was important for Happ to mentor Borucki, Dan, because according to Happ, former major leaguer Jamie Moyer did the very same thing for him some 10 years ago when the two were with the Philadelphia Phillies.
All right, Hazel, thank you. Those lefties stay together, don't they, Tabby?
Yes, they do. And I'll tell you what, veteran pitchers love to go down and help the young players because they remember what it was like when they were first beginning. And I'll tell you what, Jay Happ was taught by Jamie Moyer. You know, Happ is going to help Borucki, and then someday Borucki's going to help some other youngster coming up. You know who was great with that, with the Blue Jays? When he came over here from the Marlins, the guy who's wearing that number, Mark Burley, was awesome with a lot of the young pitchers when he came over here. A lot of them still talk about him.
Who was your guy when you came up to the big leagues as a young guy? Who was a veteran who kind of told you, hey, you're a big leaguer now, here's what you got to do?
Well, I came up with the Chicago Cubs, and Bill Buckner was, you know, I wouldn't say took me under his wing, but he helped me out a lot. There's a good pitch, that inside fastball. And then when we were teammates in Kansas City, the friendship kept going.
First strike out of the night as Escobar takes a pitch over the inside corner.
It's a big pitch. Be able to establish that fastball on the inner half against right-handed batters. Escobar, facing Borucki for the first time, gives up on that fastball. You know, he'll make a mental note of that the next time he faces him.
So 4 up, 4 down so far for Borucki. And there's Robbie Grossman, who takes a first pitch breaking ball in for his strike. Grossman DHing tonight and hitting 5th after playing right field and hitting 9th last night. Borucki throwing his fastball kind of like where Jay Happ likes to throw his fastball against the righty.
Yeah, work quickly, pound it in there. You see Robbie Grossman trying to call timeout to slow down Borucki. Who does that remind you of also, who used to wear 56?
Mark Burley.
Exactly.
He was the quickest worker I think any of us has ever seen.
Put pressure on that hitter. I mean, you can't step out anymore to try to slow him down and upset his timing.
A ground ball to short. And Gurriel on to first, 2 down. Well, of course, Burley didn't need much time. He never shook the catcher off, so that saved a lot of time between pitches. Speaking of a guy who doesn't shake the catcher off, it sounds like some unfortunate news for Marco Estrada. He was on a rehab assignment, start down in Louisville for Buffalo today, and from what we understand, in the 4th inning, he was taken out of the game after getting it out, and they were looking at his finger or fingers. We have not been given an official update yet by the ball club, but whatever it is not good, because the hope was that Estrada would make one minor league rehab start and then be back for the road trip, but it doesn't sound like that's going to happen.
Yeah, and it's not the hip or the glute problem that he was having. It was a finger problem that he came out, so we're hoping for the best.
But it sounds like the Blue Jays are going to need a starting pitcher on 5 days from now on the road trip. Get an off day Thursday as Kepler takes the breaking ball in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Obviously, the Blue Jays don't want to have another bullpen day if they can help it. So somebody else from the minors might be up to start a game in Chicago.
There are some options if they want to go that way. But first, let's take a look at the pitching line for Marco today as he pitched in Louisville versus the Bats. 3 earned runs, a couple of home runs allowed for Estrada, and then had to come out in the 4th inning.
Fastball over the outside corner for strike 3 call. And another very good inning for Ryan Borucki.
celebrate Blue Jays heroes of the past. On Saturday, August 11th, the first 20,000 fans will receive an Alomar, Molitor, and Olerud triple bobblehead. For tickets, visit BlueJays.com, and don't forget to arrive early for all the pre-game festivities. Dan.
You know, that guy in the middle looks a little bit like that guy.
I think it is that guy, right?
That guy hit .332 that year in 1993 and was MVP of the World Series. We talked about him a lot last night. Hall of Famer. And he kept hitting no matter how old he was. And he was 36 years old in 1993 when the Blue Jays won it and hit .332. And what I had completely forgotten is the next year, 94, when the team wasn't really good and the strike halted the season, as a 37-year-old, he hit .341. And then 2 years later, when he went to Minnesota, and he's a Twin Cities guy, he went home to Minnesota to finish his career as a 39-year-old. He hit .341 again. And he did it. He played in 161 games, had 660 at-bats, and hit .341 as a 39-year-old.
You know what that's called? It's called aging gracefully.
He played until he was 41. He hit .281 when he was 41.
I bet you he could hit right now.
I think you're right.
I bet you he can get up there and put wood on the ball.
3-2 to Teoscar Hernandez. A very high fly ball to right center field. And Kepler is there about 10 feet shy of the track for out number 1. How old were you when you said, you know what, I couldn't get up there and get a hit anymore? Like, how many years after you retired till you said, there's no way I could get a hit anymore?
How many years till after I retired?
Yeah. Like 5 years later, did you say, yeah, I could probably still go up there and get a few hits here and there? Or?
I think I could still go up there and get a hit.
Really?
I didn't want to do it anymore.
Right.
That's the thing. When I retired, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go do something else with my life. Everybody thinks they can still hit. I had this conversation around the batting cage today with Mike Mordecai. You know, could we still hit? Said, hey, I bet you I could put wood on the ball still.
Yep.
I don't know if it'd go anywhere.
I think you might be more of an opposite field hitter than a pull hitter right now. I'm not sure the bat speed's quite what it was.
Have you seen me in fantasy camp?
No. You light it up in fantasy camp?
I can't hit anymore.
Can't hit at all?
No. Everything hurts. Everything hurts to try and swing.
Ain't that the truth?
I can't see anymore. I used to be able to see Roger Clemens' fastball. I can't see anything anymore. That's why I respect what these guys do day in and day out, like this.
Look at this. Solarte is on his way to second base and in there with an opposite field bloop double.
To come out every day and face the best of the best like these guys do every single day. Solarte's facing Barrios right now, who gets in his kitchen, but he finds a way to get it into the outfield for an extra base hit. Fastball. Going to try and get it inside, and he pulls his hands in and just dumps it down the left field line. It's impressive. Hit it where they're not standing and then run until the ball stops you.
That's the first base runner of the night for either side. And here's Kendrys Morales with a base hit to the opposite field. Up to third goes Solarte.
Kendrys Morales has been swinging a hot bat. He's had 36 hits in his last 36 games with 13 RBIs. Thinks he has another one here, but Solarte concedes that Rosario, who leads the team in outfield assists with 8, is going to catch the ball and get it back in quickly, so he will settle for moving up 90 feet. But Kendrys has been swinging it. He's at .321 over his last 36 games, and he comes up with a base hit his first time up tonight.
And chatting it up with Joe Mauer, a former teammate. Morales was a Twin for part of the 2014 season. Here's Russell Martin. Good opportunity for the Blue Jays, first and third with one out. Martin didn't play last night. Luke Maley getting the start in last night's game. And the fastball misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes on Martin.
Russell has such a great eye at the plate. I mean, he was in a fastball count, and that pitch was just off the plate, but he has the discipline to stay off of it. Now he's thinking, how can I get this ball in the air?
2-1. Now he's checking with the home plate umpire, Hunter Wendelstedt. You might have been able to hear Russell say, was that a strike? Looking down to third, Louis Rivera flashing the signs, reminding Solarte verbally.
Go on the ground, tag up on a fly ball, watch the line drive. That's basically the communication to that runner.
Trying to get that low fastball in the air, but hasn't been able to do it yet.
Yeah, he's got a little sink on that fastball those last 2 pitches. Louis reminding him again over there at third base. Hey, watch the ball in the dirt. He might be trying to go for the strikeout here. He might pull one of those curveballs for a wild pitch.
2-2 and a good sharp breaking ball down and away for out number 2.
He did throw him the curveball, but it was in a great place. Sharp breaking and a very timely strikeout for Barrios.
Well, we talked about Marco Estrada. Now we know a little bit more than we did a half inning ago, is that it is evidently a blister issue for Marco Estrada. So hopefully nothing too serious. We'll wait and see what the next couple of days show and what the Blue Jays say about that. Also, Roberto Osuna pitched in that same game, went an inning, gave up 2 hits, 1 walk, no runs, and struck out a batter. Osuna now at AAA. He threw 15 pitches, 8 for strikes, and again, he is eligible to rejoin the ball club on the last day of the upcoming road trip, August the 5th in Seattle. Randal Grichuk the batter, first and third, 2 down now. The Blue Jays got a double by Solarte, a single from Morales. Can they cash in?
It's a hard sweeping breaking ball right there to get ahead 0-2. Mentioned that he has made some mistakes with that curveball this year. He's given up 7 home runs on that curveball, but they've only hit 157 against Barrios's breaking ball this year.
You know, the funny thing is you wouldn't guess it just by watching him pitch, but righties have actually hit a little bit better against Barrios than lefties have this season. Higher batting average, higher OPS, a little bit more slugging.
Maybe making mistakes with that off-speed pitch. Not too many.
Good take there by Grichuk and a high fastball. So often you see that's the game plan. Try to get him to chase a high fastball. Try to get him to chase a down and away breaking ball.
He was swinging at that pitch early this season and missing it. That time he laid off of it.
He went around, and that'll be all. Barrios with the back-to-back strikeouts of Martin and Grichuk, and the Blue Jays leave a couple of men on in the bottom of the second.
and share a game. But Vladimir Guerrero Sr. and Jr. followed very different roads to baseball stardom. This intimate all-access documentary tells the complex family story of the last great Expo and the next great Blue Jay. It's a Blue Jay special. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., namesake, Sunday following the Blue Jays and White Sox right here on Sportsnet.
PVR set.
Set. You have it already?
Done. I'm not locked in on many things in this world. PVR is one of them.
I'm going to have to get a copy of that because we're going to be on the road.
You're going to be on the road. Yeah.
Going to miss it.
I mean, when you think about all the connections, it really is kind of cool. I mean, Vlad Sr. playing in Montreal. He's going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, Sunday. And then that's the day that, you know, this special comes out, and Vlad Jr., you know, hitting the home run in Montreal at the end of spring training and then having the kind of season that he's having. Pretty cool story.
It's going to be a great story, and Stephen Brunt did that, didn't he? He always does a great job with all of those documentaries and those storytelling. So I don't have a PVR here.
No, you don't have a portable PVR.
No, I don't. So I'm just going to have to find another way.
I think you know enough people at the network. You could probably get a copy. Taylor Motter is the batter, and it's a little roller to the right side. Travis coming on hard and making a fine play to get him one down.
You know, that is a play that you don't anticipate as a second baseman. You're playing deep. You're deep and you're off in the shift. And as you start to run after that ball, you say, the only way I'm going to get this is bare hand and then fire it as hard as I can to the first baseman. And Justin Smoke, that is about 20 feet away, and he flicks it to him accurately for the out. Great play by Travis.
Some tricky spin on that ball. Little English on that ball, it looked like. Here's Jorge Polanco, the shortstop, and he pops the first pitch up. Smoke wants it and takes it 2 down as we check in with Jamie. And they are just 3.5 out of the second wild card spot right now after being completely out of the conversation a couple of weeks ago.
They beat up on Corey Kluber last night. Hard.
Bobby Wilson is catching tonight for the Twins. The number 9 hitter, hitting just $176 on the season. It is wide open in the National League. Realistically, about 11 teams harboring realistic hopes of making the playoffs this year. So American League is quite a bit more clear cut. You've got more sellers in the American League, potentially more buyers in the National League, and there will be action coming in the next week or so.
I have seen scouts here in this homestand from the Dodgers, from the Phillies, from the Giants. I mean, there's been a lot of National League teams here. Atlanta. We've seen some of the teams that we're going to face on the next road trip. That's got to do with more of, you know, who we're playing.
There's some of the guys you're talking about. And they could be looking at both of these teams.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. But there are a lot of National League teams here. Milwaukee. That are taking a look at some of these players. They're not here advanced scouting. They're here to look at certain pitchers, certain players.
Rocky's retired the first 8 batters he's faced tonight. And it's a ball and 2 strikes on Wilson. Ground ball down to third, backhanded by Solarte, and on the money with the throw to get him. 9 up, 9 down for the young lefty so far tonight. Apparently, he just doesn't know what to do with himself. He's so bored right now being on the DL. Kevin Pillar walked in unannounced to the broadcast booth. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I understand last night you were down in the bullpen. Are you going a little stir crazy these days? Or?
Yeah, I'm figuring out things to do. It's actually, I don't want to say it's nice, but it's giving me opportunities to spend some time with my teammates that normally I'm so busy playing I don't get to catch up and watch the game and ask them questions. So that part's been nice.
All right. Well, you can hang out with us as long as you want. Are you going to do play-by-play or color?
No, you do play-by-play. You're the best.
You're going to stick to color?
Yeah, I'll stick to color.
All right. Here's Devin Travis leading off the bottom of the third, no score. First and foremost, it was a scary-looking situation in Boston. Before we have some fun at your expense, how you feel?
I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel great. Progress has been good. I like where I'm at. I just continue to go out there and work every day and hope for the best.
You were throwing yesterday and today. That's way ahead of schedule, no?
Yeah, definitely way ahead of schedule. I kind of surprised myself. I came back from the All-Star break and I was feeling pretty good, and saw the training staff, saw the medical staff, and they kind of green-lighted me to go as fast as I felt comfortable going.
Tell the people at home and around Canada what your day is like when you get to the ballpark, about your rehab and some of the things that they do for you.
Yeah, I get here about 12:30 and go straight to the pool at the hotel. We use the facilities up there, and I get in and do some water aerobics and some swimming. Then I go into some soft tissue work, massage work with the training staff, and go do a workout. And obviously now I'm throwing. I'm moving towards picking up a bat here soon, and hopefully be back on the field here very soon.
Are you pushing them to let you go at a quicker pace maybe than they thought you would go at?
I don't want to say I'm pushing them. I think my body had a plan of its own. I showed up after the All-Star break and I was feeling much better than I did before. But yeah, every day I just show up and I wake up, see how my body feels, and I push it to the point where foul ball. I push it to the point where I'm building up towards taking some game reps, and if I have a setback I'll shut it down. But so far they've green lighted me to do everything I feel comfortable doing.
You going on the road trip?
Yeah, I believe I'm going on the road. They haven't told me otherwise, so I assume I'm going on the road.
You're going to hit, right? Didn't you tell me you're going to swing the bat on Friday?
Friday, that's the plan.
Soft toss, dry swings, batting practice, flips?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I haven't asked too many questions. They just said tomorrow I'm going to come here. I'm going to do foul ball.
You can't speculate too soon up here, man. You got to let it come to you.
Was that too soon?
Yeah, you jumped out in front like that. Ball's clearly foul from up here.
Oh, but I have to build the anticipation that it might be a fair ball.
Let it come to you. Stay within yourself.
I'm just giving insight to what a hitter feels, because I know right off the bat I'm like foul ball and I'm like, oh man.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, but we've got a bit of a bone to pick with you. So last night when you were bored, one of the places you went, this is like where's Waldo, where's Kevin during a ball game right now. You went down to the bullpen, and Lourdes Gurriel hit one out of the park. Now you are one of the best outfielders in the game. And this one, I mean, what happened here, man? You just let it play you.
Yeah, I know, it beat me.
Yeah.
It beat me. He hit it better than I thought. All I had was a hand. Left fielder wouldn't give me the ball either. He was like, he looked up and he's like, what are you doing out there? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with myself.
How long were you out there? I'm sorry, Tappy, go ahead.
Did you feel like jumping for that ball?
Yeah, I did.
I know. You look like you wanted to.
There's some bullpens that have a lot of fun when they're out there and you see them try to catch the ball in our hat. Our bullpen kind of just likes to sit out there, watch the game. Something I've noticed either as a hitter or, in the dugout when a teammate hits a home run. So, I just wanted to try to make a play out there, have a little fun while I was out there. But it was nice to go out there and kind of, when you're playing or when you're on the bench, I never really get to see what the bullpen does unless the phone rings and they go throw. So kind of just getting a perspective of how a bullpen life is, sitting up there watching a game, the conversations we had, and then it's kind of chaos when the phone rings, especially a day like yesterday, bullpen day. Yeah. There's no really established roles. You don't know who's going to throw. When that phone rang, they all hopped up and they got down those stairs real quick, and then you find out who's getting ready to get loose.
Ground ball up the middle, diving stop. Dozier flips it off to Polanco, but no play. And Gurriel is aboard with an infield hit with 2 down here in the bottom of the 3rd. I know you've talked to him about his swing. I know you've played a role in some of the things that he's doing up here in the big leagues. Tell us what you think about Gurriel.
He's definitely a really talented guy. I mean, you know, when you get these guys that played, whether it's in Mexico or Cuba, they come over and they're young. They appear to be young, but these guys have been playing at a high level for a long time. So the bright lights of playing in the big leagues doesn't seem to affect these guys as much as, you know, someone like myself that, you know, played in the States and goes to college, and you don't really get opportunity to play in high leverage situations like you do, whether it's in Mexico or Cuba. So. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I've helped him a lot with his swing. I've helped him with maybe the mental side or how to prepare for hitters, but just things that have been passed along to me from some of the veteran guys that I've played with. And, you know, I feel like I've been around long enough to, you know, be a veteran and share some insight that I've learned along the way.
No score, bottom of the 3rd. Is it starting to turn, Kevin? I mean, you just used the word veteran, and you know, some of the guys who you came here with or who were here are no longer here. Some younger players are coming in. Are you starting to feel like one of the older guys in the group right now?
Well, when you think about just, you know, Blue Jay players that have been here the longest, you got Aaron Loop and then you got myself. Obviously, we don't have the most service time, but, oh, did he get it?
He did not. Fly ball to right, just shy of the track. Can you hang around another half inning?
Yeah, I'll do a half inning.
All right, he'll do another half inning. No score at the end of 3 between the Twins and the Blue Jays.
Years old, he attended the Luis Coronado Baseball Academy in the Dominican Republic with both of last night's starters, Luis Santos and Adalberto Mejia. The 3 friends still keep in touch and also work out together in the off-season. Last night was a special night for the trio because their coach and owner of the academy, Coronado, made the trip to Toronto to watch his 3 students play in a big league game for the very first time together. Hernandez went out for a post-game dinner with Coronado. He told me they just wanted to catch up and relive his time at the academy. Now, I asked Mejia if he thought a teenage Hernandez back then would ever make the big leagues. He smiled and told me Hernandez always had the talent, but he never thought he was going to be this good here in the big leagues. Dan.
All right, Hazel, thank you. Well, he has certainly shown a lot with a bat. Tremendous power for Teoscar Hernandez. Still learning in the outfield, Tabby, as we saw last night. The sinking liner that got under his glove and got to the fence for a triple. Not that he's the first guy that's happened to, but Kevin, when you think about Teoscar Hernandez and him both offensively and defensively, as we should say, Kevin Pillar is in the booth for us for people who are just tuning in. Kevin's on the DL and he is wandering around the ballpark looking for things to do and ways to stay busy. As Joe Mauer hits a ground ball to the right side, but a busy night for Devin Travis, 1 down. Give me your thoughts on Teoscar Hernandez.
All the talent in the world. You know, I've talked to him. He had a moment earlier in the year where Gibby felt like he wasn't given his entire effort in the outfield, and he got pulled out. His spot came up in the lineup, and you know, good on Gibby's part to do that. But you know, I felt like once again as a veteran outfielder here, I had to talk to him and just talked about how extremely talented he is, and you know, that's something that can't happen. You know, you bat in the middle of the order for a reason. We want you to hit there. Anytime you come up to the plate, something special can happen, and it's just about understanding how good he is in the outfield. He could change the game out there with his legs, with his glove, with his arm. and it's just something that's going to come with more experience out there.
Can you draw on any experience that happened in your career that you can pass on to him to help him?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely moments in my career where a similar thing happened, where whether I didn't run out a ball to first base or you know, I didn't do something I was supposed to do in the outfield, and the only way to punish guys in the big leagues is take away playing time. We've all talked about we're being sent down, and sometimes you know, for something like that, being sent down might not be warranted. So the next best thing is you take a guy out of the game, because we all care and we all want to play, and we understand every time we're on the field we have an opportunity to help our team win, do something great. So you know, lesson learned for him, but it's just he needs to understand how talented he is defensively. We see what he does with the bat, we've seen what he's been able to do with the glove, but it's just about going out there every day and understanding that you can impact the game defensively, whether you struck out 3-4 times, and that's something that, you know, honestly has allowed me to go through some of my ups and downs offensively. Is I know when I go to defense, my at-bat's over, and I got to go out there and help my team any way I can.
First hit of the night for the Twins. Rosario goes the other way for a single with one out here in the fourth.
How high of a ceiling does he have? Put your scout's hat on right now. Tell me how high of a ceiling he has.
I'll be honest, with what I've seen, Jose Bautista comp isn't out of the question. He has the arm strength similar to Jose. Obviously, he's playing left. Jose played right, but his ability to hit the ball to any part of the ballpark is something that Jose didn't have. Jose, you know, focused his power a little bit more to the pull side, but similar body build, similar strength. You know, if Taylor takes care of his body and continues to develop and continues to learn from the guys around him, and just with experience, I think the ceiling is perennial all-star, and I think he can be a Jose Bautista type of player.
1 on, 1 out in the fourth. Kevin, I want to get off baseball if I can for just a moment. A couple of things. One, how is it being a new dad for you? And two, I know you've been front and center along with some of your teammates about the tragedy that happened here in Toronto a couple of days ago. You've been online and talking to people about it. How has that, as somebody who's been here for a few years, as you said, as this ball is lined into right center, it'll get down for a base hit, and the Twins will have runners at first and third. How as someone this is kind of your adopted home, how has this affected you?
Oh, it's very sad. It's very sad. I mean, Toronto, for a long time, I would rave to my friends back home, my family, people that haven't had opportunity to come here, just, you know, how beautiful of a city it is, how safe it is, that I trust my wife and, you know, my now young newborn baby to walk around the city, walk home after a game, whether it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. And you know, never thought anything like this would ever occur in this city, but it's just the reality of the world we live in. You know, but I come from the mindset that as soon as we start living in fear, then you know, these sick people that go out and do these things are winning. They're getting what they want. So you know, for us as people of this community to go out and continue to enjoy the beautiful weather we've had, enjoy the beautiful city, and we just can't live in fear. But at the same time, we can't be naive to these situations that occurred, and we need to. I find myself doing it now, walking home from games. I kind of look to my left and right. I check my surroundings, and I think about you know, the worst case scenario. What would I do? Where would I go? You know, something I never thought I'd have to think about here in the city. But like I said, I mean, there's no such thing as a safe city, a safe world anymore. I think we all just gotta, you know, walk around with our head on a swivel and you know, come together as a community when things like this happen. You know, you just hope that there's some heroic people nearby that are, you know, willing to be a little bit selfless and go out there and help in any way they can.
There's a check swing foul off right side. I don't know if you've ever been to the Danforth, if that's part of the city that you frequent, just a thriving, bustling area. And I think a lot of people are going out of their way now. Go to a restaurant there, go to a business there, you know, reach out to the people who have been through what they've been through. But obviously, first and foremost, it's about the families and the victims and those recovering from injuries, and sending them all of our thoughts. And you and a bunch of your teammates have been out in front talking about that, and I think helping to bring some healing in any small way that any of us can. Popped up, and Travis will have another play. All right, how about being a dad?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the perfect segue because you know, we're all parents up here, and I can't even imagine what the families are going through right now. You know, one losing a 9-year-old girl, the other losing an 18-year-old girl who's just about to enter the best part of her life. You know, from everything I've seen, everything I've read, she was going to be a nursing student, and she had a real passion for that, and she was about to go into nursing school. So, but yeah, I mean, it's a completely different feeling for me. Obviously, it would be sad regardless, but now being a father, I can't even imagine what it's like to, you know, bring this human into the world and, you know, have to deal with the loss of a child. You know, I always remember my mom talking about, you know, in the ideal world, you're burying me, I'm not burying you. You know, we're supposed to outlive our parents. So I can't even imagine what they're going through right now. But fatherhood's been the best. I mean, it obviously comes with its challenges, but there's nothing more rewarding than, you know, molding this brand new human being into this world. And
you have a new house now, don't you?
I got a new house.
You bought it online. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, kind of online. Who does that?
What do you mean, kind of? You did? Or
yeah, we did.
You could buy anything online.
Buy anything online.
Now, your wife was in the radio booth with me a couple of weeks ago, and I asked her, so I said, you know, I know Kevin's a huge Lakers fan, and your daughter's name is Kobe. Now, spelled differently than Kobe Bryant. She said it is not, your daughter is not named after Kobe Bryant. True?
True. I'll say true because she might be listening at home. I wouldn't say named after him, but it's name inspired.
Gritchick roaming where Kevin Pillar often roams in deep left center, and Borucki gets out of it, leaves a couple of men on. Thanks for doing this.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and thanks for reaching out to the community the way you have as well.
You're doing a great job, man.
Get healthy. Kevin Pillar.
MLB At Bat is your #1 Blue Jays app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get Blue Jays home screen icons and features such as the MLB TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this very special offer.
Hazel, thank you, and our thanks to Kevin Pillar for stopping by. On the DL, you saw he was out of the bullpen last night. Who knows where he's going to be over the course of the next few games until he gets healthy again. But that was fun, and that was different, and that was a chance to, you know, really get to know somebody, and for viewers and fans to get to know somebody as well. We thank him for taking the time.
Great
to come
guy,
up here.
just a great guy, and he's a real tribute, you know, to the team and the city, to himself, his family, and nobody knows their teammates better than their teammates, and I love how he talked about Teoscar Hernandez, and I think he understands the type of player he is and the player that he can become. Players know other players. They're around them every single day, and they know everything about them. So thank you for sharing your thoughts, Kevin.
It sounds like he's working hard to kind of push the envelope on that schedule. He wants to get it back as quickly as he can, as quickly as they will let him get back, as Barrios strikes out Hernandez.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Guys, getting some news from the farm over the last couple of
A rainy day and a roof over our heads here at Rogers Center. So we got baseball for you tonight. No score, bottom of the fourth. Yangervis Solarte is the batter, and he fouls one right off the mask of the umpire, Hunter Wendelstetter. Was it down near the chest protector?
That's what it looked like. It might have been.
Bobby Wilson checking on him to make sure he's all right.
Didn't even flinch. No problem. There you go.
2 thumbs up.
Double thumbs up from Hunter. Harry Wendelstedt was his father. You mentioned he's a second generation umpire.
Solarte had a double his first time up, blooped one down the left field line into no man's land, just in fair territory. And then Kendrys Morales followed up with a single, so the Blue Jays had runners on the corners with just 1 out. But then Barrios got out of it by striking out both Russell Martin and Randall Grichuk. The young right-hander has 5 strikeouts through 3 1/3. And look who's back in the dugout now. Well, he's quick even when he's on the DL.
Where are there, like 2 or 3 of them running around the the stadium tonight?
2-2.
Well, there's some movement now from the defense of the Minnesota Twins. Statcast AI is powered by AWS. Escobar, the third baseman, has shifted over now with 2 strikes.
And a big swing at a breaking ball down and in for strikeout number 6 for Barrios. Now Morales. And with a base hit, his first time up tonight, Tabby, he's got his average over 250, and that may not seem like such a grand statement, but remember where he's coming from. How slow of a start he had to the season.
You can see his at-bats getting better and better as the season wears on. It's timing also. There's a lot of movement from the left side from Kendrys, but you can see that timing so much better when he winds up and gets those hands in that hitting position.
He was hitting 146 on May 17th, and he was under 200 as recently as June the 6th. Now he's up over 250, and it's not just the batting average. He's been driving in runs. He's been hitting for power. He's been a really good hitter for about the last 7 weeks.
13 RBIs, 7 home runs over his last 36 games. And you know, all it takes is one hot streak to get you going. See how he's taking those pitches just off the plate. He's seeing them very early. That's the one thing I notice about him over the last month or so, is he's picking up the ball out of the hand of those pitchers very quickly.
The Twins don't go with the 4 outfielder look against Morales. They go with a shift on the infield. They had 4 outfielders against Smoke.
Here's the defense you were talking about. 3 infielders on the right side. Smoke had 4 outfielders to deal with.
And Paul Mahler does it once in a while. Joe Madden of the Cubs will do that once in a while. A little bit inside for ball 4. 2-out walk, and Morales on base for the second time tonight. It was funny about what Kevin Pillar what he said when he came in. This is before he got on headset, I think. He goes, yeah, I was listening to you guys in the clubhouse. He goes, Tabby, you think you could still hit?
He didn't listen to the whole conversation because I took it all back. Yeah, they do listen. I'm telling you, those players, they go in there, they know what's happening.
It's funny, though, when a player is in a spot that he hasn't been in before, and when Pillar came into the booth, the first thing he said is, wow, this is a pretty good view up here, because he's never been up here before. Russell Martin with a ground ball to short, And they will force Morales at second, and that'll be all. No score at the end of 4. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Joe Siddall in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Those comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests from one of TD's community partners. And WestJet's first Dreamliner is coming, and it's a game changer. Get ready for a refined travel experience. Visit 787.westjet.com to see the whole story.
Are we going to find Pilar out of the WestJet flight deck before the end of the game? No score going to the top of the 5th inning. Dan Schulman to Pat Tabler, Hazel Mahan for an inning. Kevin Pilar, middle game of this 3-game set, and both pitchers pitching extremely well so far. Jose Barrios for the Twins and Ryan Borucki back in the big leagues after being sent down to the minors for 10 days, which was really just a hey, it's the All-Star break, they don't need as many arms, give that arm a bit of a rest over the All-Star break, let him throw a couple of side sessions, and he has come back looking very sharp. And one thing that we should mention, and it should always be remembered, is that 3 of his first 4 starts in the big leagues were against Houston, the Yankees, and the Red Sox. That's a tough way to break into the big leagues.
And when he faced the Detroit Tigers, they were the #1 team in the American League hitting against left-handed pitching. I mean, they were no pushover either. But you're right. We talked to Pete Walker today, and I asked him, did you send him down there just to give him a little bit of a blow? It's a long season. He's a young player, and with the thought of maybe curtailing his innings and his starts, he says, you know what? We don't have any innings limit on him. He has thrown in the past times where he has thrown 140, 160 innings. So we don't foresee that in the future as the season unwinds and he's going to be in the big leagues, that we're going to have to shut him down at any time to watch an innings limit.
Taylor Motter. It's a liner into left field past a diving Gurriel for a base hit. The 3rd hit of the night for the Twins. Motter, utility guy, has played with the Rays and the Mariners as well.
Gets on top of this high fastball, lines it right out of the reach of Gurriel.
Here's Jorge Polanco, 1 on, 1 out, and a high strike, 0-1.
You know, when you're throwing strikes like Borucki is right now, it's hard for the opposition to try and do anything offensively. Bunt, hit and run, steal, any of that when you're pounding that ball in that strike zone.
Throws behind the runner who's going. Smoke with a throw down, and they got him as Gurriel applies the tag. But hang on a second. Motter's telling the dugout to look at the replay.
Paul Molitor is telling everybody, hey, hold on just a second. And I think Molitor picked up on that. You know, we've got to do something, but he's making it awfully tough by filling up the strike zone with so many of these strikes. So let's go on first movement. That's what Motter does. Smoke, who has a very strong and accurate arm to second base. Sure looks like he's out.
Boy, if he got the tag down on that back foot, the foot that's sticking out, or did he swipe right by the foot? Did he actually get a piece of it, I think, is the issue.
I think what the Twins saw, and they're going to take a look at this over here at first base, is the sweep tag missed that back foot and hit the calf of Motter after he was on the base. I think that's their argument. That's Derek Shelton on the phone. He is the bench coach now for the Minnesota Twins. There's the sweep tag. It misses the back foot, and it's a high tag on the right leg.
By which time the left foot may have been on the bag. Gurriel reacted like he got him. The crowd is reacting as they see the replay, but they're seeing it largely from one side. Obviously, they're reacting like they got him. You see the umpires looking out to the video scoreboard, but the decision is being made by the umpires who are in the replay command center back in New York.
Here's the sweep. Does not look like it hit the right foot.
Right, but it's got to be definitive, right,
Yes.
to overturn it. The call on the field is out, and that could be the difference here. That could work in the Blue Jays' favor. See, there's no hostility on the field anymore. Nobody has to argue about anything.
Take it out of the umpire's hand. Let somebody else decide. If you can definitively say that he was on the bag when that tag was applied, and they're asking the umpire, did you call him on the tag on the right foot or the left foot? That's what the things they're discussing right now, and then they'll decide.
And a few years ago, the laces were considered to be part of the glove for a tag. They no longer are, if that is something they're looking at. But do they have enough to overturn it? Do they have enough to say he definitely did not tag him before he got to the bag?
I'm not guessing.
And this has been a long one, too.
Yeah, and I think the longer it goes, the worse it's going to be for the Blue Jays. The longer it goes, they're going to end up calling him safe.
See, I think the opposite. The longer it goes, the more doubt there is, and if there's doubt, then they don't overturn it. But we'll find out. So here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Safe. You're right. So they obviously felt beyond a shadow of a doubt that he did not get the glove down before the foot got to the bag. So credit Motter with a stolen base. He's at second with a 1 out for Polanco, and it's 0-1. About a 2.5 minute replay situation. Now again, Gurriel is learning a lot about a lot of different things out in the field. Is there an art to tagging? The
Yes.
sweep tag versus just dropping the glove, that kind of thing.
I was just thinking the same thing, that right there you got to put the glove down on the bag, let him slide right into your leg.
That's a fair ball. Going to be a long throw, and Solarte pulls Smoke off the bag. Safe at first, Polanco holding at second, Motter.
And to finish that thought, put it right in front of the bag and let him slide right into your glove, and then keep it there. Don't swipe tag. With replay and everything like that, swipe tag's out. You got to hold it right there. Polanco's going to beat this ball out as Solarte sets, fires, and he's off target just a little bit. We were talking at the beginning of this show that Borucki had some defensive lapses behind him in his last start at Boston, and he couldn't overcome it.
Yeah, that was the game where the Blue Jays committed 4 errors in the first 2 innings. Now he committed 1 of them on an errant pickoff throw at first base. They didn't play well behind him, and he didn't have his best day pitching either. He is pitching extremely well here tonight, but still facing a first and second, a 1-out situation in the 5th for Bobby Wilson. You know what? A ground ball could solve everything.
He seems to be the type of player that can just forget about the previous play, turn the page. turn that negative into a positive. That infield hit now has set up the double play, and if he can get the ball on the ground, he'll get a double play. It's a Twins team that can really hit this season with runners in scoring position, so he's going to have to make a pitch.
Fastball taken low, 2 balls and a strike. Runner goes from second, and the pitch swung on, hit sharply to Travis, to Gurriel for 1, and on to first, the double play. Nifty turn of the double play by the middle infielders. Travis with the flip to Gurriel, who had all kinds of time to get Wilson, and Borucki is going to get out of it. Graceful across the bag, a little wide on the throw, helps to have a 6'4" first baseman.
As the best tennis players in the world converge on Toronto and Montreal. The Rogers Cup, presented by National Bank, begins August 6th, right here on Sportsnet.
Looking forward to that. Hoping that Dennis Shapovalov can have himself a good week here in Toronto as we move to the bottom of the 5th at Rogers Center. No score in this game. Randall Grichuk, Devin Travis, and Curtis Granderson are coming up against Jose Barrios. The Blue Jays have 3 hits so far. Double by Solarte, a single by Morales, and a single by Gurriel. Grichuk struck out his first time up. To center field. And Tabby maybe just a bit down towards the end of the bat, otherwise it's gone.
Take on any project with Home Hardware. Proud partner of the Toronto Blue Jays. Here's how.
Roof closed at Rogers Center tonight as the Jays bat at the bottom of the 5th. Devin Travis takes a fastball right on the outside corner of the knees. Travis grounded out his last time up. Came into this game having hit .333 over his last 16 games. He's at .243 overall now.
Timing so much better at the plate for Devin. There were times where he was getting beat by the fastball. Just wasn't moving until that pitcher let go of the baseball. Now he's got that wind up and that waggle of the bat right when the pitcher's getting ready to throw it, and that's all about timing. You can see over his last 8 games the production and what type of hitter he can be when he's in one of these hot streaks.
And there hasn't been any talk that we've heard. Remember, he's hit first and second at times. I think everybody's just, he's doing well. He's healthy. He's feeling good. Just leave him where he is, down near or at the bottom of the order.
Yeah, just let him get on a roll, and then if you want to move him up and put him in the number 2 hole, I mean, he looks like he could be a number 2 hole type of hitter.
Be interesting though if Curtis Granderson is traded, because he's generally been the leadoff guy against right-handed pitching. Who leads off for the Blue Jays against righties the rest of the season? Here's a broken back ground ball off the side of the mound, bounces to Polanco at short, 2 down. I mean, they've led off at times. Teoscar Hernandez against a lefty, Randall Grichuk against a lefty. Neither of those guys are really suited to being leadoff hitters. Gurriel, as we talked about earlier, rarely walks. They don't really have somebody who profiles as a leadoff hitter, especially if Granderson is traded. That's
the problem in baseball today. There just aren't any true leadoff hitters anymore. You've got to hit a leadoff hitter right now, Curtis Granderson. Look at the defense that the Minnesota Twins are throwing on this guy. 4 outfielders.
Just like they did against Smoke.
That's why he was trying to bunt his way on last time.
Mauer meets the ball at the bag, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Barrios. It is still scoreless now at the end of 5.
On Friday, August 10th, 2 events, 1 night. Join us pregame for live performance from the Jim Cuddy Band. The patio opens at 4:30, weather permitting. Tickets between the Blue Jays and the Rays available on BlueJays.com. It's Friday Fan Festivals presented by Bacardi.
Hazel, thank you. To the top of the 6th inning here in a scoreless game. Ryan Borucki and Jose Barrios. Borucki about to throw his 70th pitch of the night. He has not walked a batter. Got a big double play to win the top of the 5th. And he starts Joe Mauer with a strike. And Mauer quietly discussing the strike zone with Hunter Wendelstedt.
Yeah, better have that called early in the count than late in the count. Looked like it was a strike according to PitchCast.
After Mauer, Eddie Rosario, and then Brian Dozier. There's that breaking ball down and away. 2 balls and a strike. Some scores from out of town. The Yankees are up 2-0 on Tampa Bay tonight. Gary Sanchez was placed on the DL today by the Yankees with apparently after aggravating a groin injury, as Mauer sends the ball to left field and hit pretty well, but Hernandez drops it. He was back in time, and sliding into second safely is Mauer. We'll have to get another look, but he was there. Looked like it might have just hit the heel of his glove. And another issue in the outfield for Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah, if there's one part of his game that needs some improvement, it is the fielding aspect. He got back there, he turned all the way around. That's always a tough play, to turn all the way around, but then he finds the baseball and then just right at the last second, looked like he just couldn't close the glove on it and missed it. Now he has a chance, as Borucki's going to have to try and deal with the leadoff runner at second base. He had a chance to throw him out at second, but Mauer hustled his way into second base.
And an error charged to Hernandez on the play. His 5th error of the season. And now 2 balls, no strikes, and a dangerous hitter in Eddie Rosario. Hitting .306, got a lot of power as well.
Yeah, and he is a free swinger. He has struck out 3 times more than he has walked, so I think Blue Jays can pick up on that. Pitch to the edges of the plate. If you end up walking him, you can face Dozier and maybe get a double play. He's driven in 62 runs this year, and he's hit over 300.
Sharply hit ground ball, diving stop. Travis, what a play to get Rosario for the first out. Mauer comes to third.
Another star on that play from Devin Travis. He's made a couple of really nice plays tonight. He got that slow roller early on against Taylor Motter. This time he's going to knock it down and then make the play over first base. You got a runner at second base in a scoreless game. You got to knock that ball down, keep it in the infield, and he does one better by getting the out over first. Now the infield has to come in.
Brian Dozier, the batter. He's 1 for 2, takes down an in ball 1. Changeup in there for a strike, 1-1. And the typical changeup from Borucki is a little bit lower and a little bit further away from the right-handed batter than that one was. Dozier took it though. Well located fastball inside corner.
Dozier's taken more pitches than I've ever seen him take. He too is a free swinger, trying to yank everything.
In the air to left center field. Grichuk comes in, makes the catch. Here comes the runner. Here comes the throw, not in time, and the Twins have the lead. The Blue Jays are going to appeal down to third, but the umpire there says Mauer did not leave early, and it's 1-0 Twins.
You know, one of the things you have to do as a center fielder is you have to navigate your throws over that pitching rubber in the pitching mound. You got to throw it high enough to get it over that so the bounce is true to the catcher. It's an accurate throw from Randall Grichuk. He's coming in. He's got everything behind it. Watch where it hits. Right the base of the mound, and it just can't get over there. It takes 2 bounces. By then it's too late.
So an unearned run because of the error on Hernandez. And it's 1-0 Minnesota as Eduardo Escobar looks at a strike. Escobar's the guy as the third baseman when Paul Molitor decides to use 4 outfielders, which he's done on a couple of occasions tonight. He's the guy who goes out there. He lines the ball hard into the alley in right center field. Grichuk will cut it off edge of the track, but Escobar's on his way to second and in there with a stand-up double.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now.
Ryan Borucki pitching well, but trailing 1-0 here in the 6th inning. A runner at second, 2 down, and the batter was Robbie Grossman.
Eduardo Escobar has been a nice surprise, hasn't he, for Minnesota? That's another extra base hit for the Twins' third baseman.
That's his major league leading 37th double on the season.
And it's not just doubles. Also, how about extra base hits? In the American League, only Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor have more. 54 extra base hits for Escobar.
And here's a line drive into the left field corner off the bat of Grossman. This will get Escobar home, and back-to-back doubles make it 2-0.
We mentioned it at the top of the show here about Ryan Borucki having to pitch around some defensive problems in his last start in Boston. Pete Walker's going to come out and give him a little bit of a blow. This inning should be over except for the drop ball in the outfield. Breaking ball stays out over the middle of the plate for Grossman, who's been a thorn in the side of the Blue Jays this year. Doubles down the left field line, switches spots with Escobar.
And the bullpen up, John Axford, who did not pitch in the bullpen game last night. The Blue Jays avoided using Axford, Clippard, Tepera, and O. So those 4 guys are all available tonight. And Teoscar Hernandez probably stewing inside about the ball that he did not catch, because that's led to these runs here this inning, and he knows it. And you know, we talk so much about can guys hit. We talk about so much about what will the pitching look like next year. You know, the defense for this team has been subpar this year, no matter what numbers you look at. That's a foul ball, and that is a painful foul ball for Max Kepler.
Blue Jays came into this game with 88 errors, or excuse me, 65 errors, 88 double plays. Where do those 65 errors plant them? Towards the bottom.
5th most in baseball.
Yeah.
Yep. And errors are only one way of looking at defense, but you know, 65 errors. Some teams are down in the high 30s, low 40s as they continue to look at Kepler.
Yeah, and it's plays not made, double plays not turned, you know, things like that. And I'm with you. Houston has been the best fielding team in the American League. They've only committed 41 errors this season. So I think that's a definite part. And John Gibbons said it yesterday. He says we got to clean up our defense. You can't give major league teams extra outs like this. It just wears on your pitcher. Having to throw more pitches, and then that in turn wears on your bullpen. You have to go to the bullpen a little bit earlier.
Kepler trying to stay in the game. Paul Molitor said something that cracked a couple of people up. Kepler will be able to stay. Fouled another one off right down near his foot, but fortunately that one didn't appear to cause him any pain. Boy, that's got to be the worst. You hurt yourself, then you do it again the next pitch.
Pitchers should throw one right back in there after a guy fouls it off his foot or his ankle or his toe, whatever. You just don't want to swing. That pain is too fresh in your mind.
A high fly ball to center field. Grichuk's got room, and that's all for the Twins from the top of the 6th. But a couple of unearned runs come across for Minnesota. They lead 2-0 through 5½. partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. This feels like a carryover from last night when they were taunting us. Folks in the truck just not nice people at all.
They know the big heaters are sitting up here.
Yeah. Here's Lourdes Gurriel Jr. to take a strike to lead off the bottom of the sixth. The Blue Jays now down 2-0. He'll be followed by Justin Smoke and then Teoscar Hernandez.
Rios was a former #1 pick of the Minnesota Twins. He was a compensation pick after the Twins lost Michael Kadire. There's a good pitch in on the hands of Gurriel. He was kind of unknown, and then in April before the draft he threw a no-hitter against a Puerto Rican all-star team that had Carlos Correa on it. He's from Puerto Rico, from Bayamon, Puerto Rico, so he boosted his stock. The Twins picked him in the first round as compensation for the loss of Michael Kadire. Signed him for $1.5 million, and here he is. He's an all-star.
And a base hit into left field, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. now has his 7th consecutive multi-hit game, and that'll tie an all-time Blue Jay rookie record.
That's 7 straight games. That'll tie the record with Al Woods, who did it in the Blue Jays inaugural season, 1977. He can hit. He's got great balance at the plate. He can handle the off-speed pitch. He can handle the fastball, anything. And I think he's just going to get better and better.
He's closing in on 300 right now with the 2 hits tonight. He's up to 298. Here's Justin Smoke. And with a runner on, they line him up differently out on the field. Instead of having 4 outfielders, it's a more traditional, if you will, 3 outfielders and the shift in the infield. Which makes sense.
Yeah, and Justin's not trying to hit ground balls, so I guess they think he's going to hit a ground ball. His job is to get the ball in the air. There's the numbers you were just talking about. Pretty impressive stuff.
15 for 28, I think, in those 7 games. Hey, you want a trade rumor?
Sure.
A lot of chatter that Zach Britton is on his way to the
Dodgers.
Nope.
Astros.
Nope. This is fun. You're gonna like this game. You're gonna enjoy this. No peeking.
Yankees.
Yes. Strike 3 to get Smoke, which says to me, if it's true, the Yankees have decided that maybe there isn't enough of an impact starting pitcher out there for them to go out and get, say, like that guy, Jay Happ, who's definitely going to help somebody. Maybe the Yankees are saying, you know what, we're going to shorten the game as much as we can and just throw every power bullpen arm at people that we can.
Does that say anything about Aroldis Chapman?
It may, because he had an ugly one a couple of days ago, right? And he's got a knee problem. Yeah, had a game where he walked 3, hit 1, had to be taken out of the game.
That's it. It's either or, right? We're going to shorten the game and just power bullpen you from the 5th inning on, or there's some worry of Aroldis Chapman, some problems with him and his knee. Either way, it's really interesting. Baltimore trading an all-star type of pitcher within the division.
Right. I guess because he's a pending free agent, you can say to yourself, well, he won't be there, might not be there next year, so it's not as painful. I thought the Red Sox were going to get Britton. I thought he was a perfect complement with Craig Kimbrell. He can close or set up or come in as a special. You can do whatever you want with Zach Britton. The Yankees, though, with a deeper farm system than the Red Sox.
That's going to cost a lot if you're going to trade within your division and basically hand them the best bullpen in baseball. That's going to cost a lot.
Yankees are 6 games back of the Red Sox, though. Let's not forget that. I mean, about 60-some games left in the season, and Boston's got a 6-game advantage right now heading into play tonight. Hernandez was taken all the way. It's 3-1. 2-0 Minnesota. So Teoscar the potential tying run.
You know he wants to do something here.
Yep.
After what happened in the top of the inning, he wants to help his team out with his bat.
Back to the mound. Barrios fires to Dozier for one and on to first. Double play. Really good play by Barrios on the mound to start that 1-4-3 inning ending. Double play, and it's still 2-0 Twins.
Players Alumni Association to a current player on each team who not only excels on the field but also best embodies the values, spirits, and traditions of baseball. Dan, you mentioned Gary Sanchez earlier. The team announcements came at the worst time for the Yankees, who named backup catcher Austin Romine their winner 24 hours after starting catcher Sanchez was vilified for not busting it out of the box with a chance to tie last night's game with the Rays in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Kind of an unfortunate timing for Gary Sanchez and the injury as well. Congratulations to Curtis Granderson on being the Blue Jays Award winner in the Heart and Hustle department. Out of the bullpen comes John Axford.
The Axe has been really good lately for the Blue Jays. Had a hiccup in his last outing against Baltimore where he gave up a couple of runs in an inning, but he's been very good. He's won 4 games out of the bullpen. ERA just crept over 4 in that last start. Good numbers all the way around. He's got that big power sinker. He's mixing in a breaking ball a little bit more. 44 appearances now for Axford. He's become very good out of the pen lately.
Bottom third of the lineup for the Twins. 6 strong innings for Ryan Borucki, but as has been the case more often than not for Borucki, the Jays just haven't hit at all when he's been in the game. Taylor Motter first pitch swinging with a weak ground ball to short. Up with it Gurriel, and plenty of arm. 1 down.
At the Honda Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
Alongside Pat Tabler and Hazel May, I'm Dane Schulman, and the Blue Jays are playing the Twins here in the second game of 3. 2-0 Minnesota, top 7. John Axford on here in the 7th after 6 good innings for Ryan Borucki. The batter is the shortstop Jorge Polanco. Nobody up in the Minnesota pen. Barrios going strong through 6 scoreless innings for the Twins. At the knees at 95, and it's 1-1.
From the first day of spring training, John Axford has been throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. That was the big thing early on in March. So we're like, wow. We all knew he could throw hard, but he was throwing hard from day one. He hasn't stopped. That's the pitch he's throwing a little bit more lately, that slow curveball. He's only walked 19 batters this year in 43 games.
The 1-2. Tried to run it back over the inside corner, and he didn't miss by much. Another guy who could easily wind up on another team by next week.
I think he can be a very valuable player and pitcher for some teams that are trying to get into the playoffs. He's had playoff experience.
Another ground ball. Travis has this one and makes another good play. It's been a busy and a good defensive night for Devin Travis.
Yeah, that's 3 really nice plays now that I put stars next to. He's got to come a long way and then throw across that body and accurately with a little something on it. With that big 2-seamer from Axford, you're going to get a lot of ground balls. Devin handles that one nicely. We'll finish up on Axford. He's closed before. He's pitched in the playoffs. He's done all of that. So he might be a valuable guy. He might be somebody might be interested in trying to trade for.
2 down, and here's Bobby Wilson, and he swings at the first pitch. It's another ground ball. This one to Solarte, and that's a very quick inning for Axford. 3 up, 3 down on groundouts to take us to the 7th inning stretch.
On QLED TV. See nothing else.
J Shop is Canada's largest and only official team shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. Come visit us at the Toronto Eaton Center, Rogers Center dates 1 and 5, and every in-stadium kiosk. For more information, check out jshop.ca or call 1-877-J-SHOP. To the home half of the 7th inning we go. Back up to the booth and check in once again with Dan Shulman and Pat Talbot.
All right, Hazel, thank you. Saw some of the smiling faces in the crowd. Almost 32,000 people here tonight for a midweek game against the Minnesota Twins. The Jays averaged over 35,000 a game in the weekend series against the Orioles. See if the Blue Jays can reward them with a little bit of offense here in the bottom of the 7th. Solarte, Morales, and Martin. Look out. Somebody made a good grab.
I think
down
that
there.
was a great catch. Very nicely done. Yeah, that's a big league baseball.
Phone in one hand, glove must have been on the other at some point, it looks like, to make the catch.
They are in the shift, even though Solarte hit one the other way, his first time up for a double. They think he's still going to try and get out there and yank that fastball. But he got beat by it and hit it to left field and hustled away into a double.
Go 2 again and got a piece of it to stay alive. Tomorrow's game is a late afternoon start, a 4:07 first pitch. Here at Rogers Center, and Irvin Santana will make his season debut for the Minnesota Twins. Sam Gaviglio will be on the mound for the Blue Jays. Jays head out on a 10-game road trip. Swing and a miss at a ball in the dirt. Solarte is gone, 1 down.
Bobby Wilson, the catcher, did a good job of pointing where he wanted that curveball out in front of home plate to get the strikeout. That's 8 now for Jose Barrios. The Super Slow-Mo is brought to you by the Samsung S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now. He has done a nice job tonight, Bobby Wilson, working with Barrios. That is his strong point, defense. Twice in that at bat, he wanted him to throw that curveball out in front of home plate. Said, bounce it. Go ahead. I'll block it.
Inside, almost hit him. The ball and a strike on Kendrys Morales, who's had a base hit and he's walked. And it looks like somebody's going to start getting up in the bullpen right now. 95 pitches for Barrios. Couple of backdoor breaking balls, and it's 1-2. Now they change up the defense in the middle of an at bat again as Escobar, who was on the right side. Now with a 2-strike count on Morales, they don't think he's as likely to pull the ball. He goes back to his normal spot. And Morales hits a routine ground ball to short. Polanco 2 down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Really remarkable after what happened last night, and for Gomber tonight, it's his first major league start. 15 relief appearances, so not just a rookie, it's his first major league start tonight.
I'm sure St. Louis is hoping the same thing doesn't happen last night. De Leon threw a no-hitter through 7, and they lost the game in the bottom of the ninth.
They had to take him out after 7 because he had thrown 116 pitches.
Another no-no tonight, and they're saying no, don't come back on us, Cincinnati.
2 down for Russell Martin, who's 0 for 2. And that breaking ball has been a huge factor in the game tonight for Jose Barrios. He is a huge building block for the Twins' future. He's 24 years of age.
Came up through their farm system. It's tough to pick up the spin of that breaking ball. Look at some of these swings and half swings. You have to respect his fastball because he's got good control and good movement with it. But you can tell that's a tight breaking ball. You just can't pick up the spin. Most curveballs, you see it out of their hand and it goes up and you can read it coming out of the hand. That one stays on plane like a fastball and then disappears.
9 strikeouts through 7 scoreless innings for Jose Barrios. kind of a fatherly arm around the shoulder from Paul Molitor. 7 really good innings for the young right-hander.
Yeah, you can see why he's an all-star. And Ryan Borucki wasn't too bad either. 6 very good innings. He gave up 2 runs. None of them were earned. 6 hits, a couple of strikeouts, no walks. Looked like he's back on track. Deserved a little bit better with his 6 very good innings tonight.
Blue Jays just have not scored runs when he's been in the ball game. Still looking for his first major league win. John Axford, who had a 7-pitch, 3 up, 3 down, top of the 7th, is back out there for the 8th. Top of the order, Mauer, Rosario, and Dozier. Maybe the pivotal at bat of the game. Mauer hitting the fly ball to left field, and Teoscar Hernandez turned one way, then turned back around the other way. Squared himself up at the last moment to the fly ball, but it glanced off his glove. Went as a 2-base error, and a couple of unearned runs would eventually score in the top of the 6th.
Yeah, it would have been a lot more if not for the great play by Devin Travis at second base to get the first out, then sacrifice fly double. And that's why we are sitting here at 2-0 in the 8th.
So the Blue Jays have scored only 3 runs in 16 innings so far in this series. And they scored 2 of them in the bottom of the 9th last night when really the matter was out of hand already.
Here's the stat too. When the Blue Jays score 3 or fewer runs, they're 4-37 this year. It goes hand in hand. You got to get the good pitching, you got to get the good defense, and you have to hit. Especially in the American League with the designated hitter, and especially in the American League East, you have to hit. Tonight, Jose Barrios has been great.
Mauer sends it foul down the left field line, a full count.
Well, here's the play that you were just talking about. Leading off the 6th inning, Joe Mauer is going to slice a ball to left field. It looks like Teoscar's got a beat on it, but then it just clanks off of his glove. It's going to go for an error. Mauer ended up on second base. He would come around to score the first run of the game on a sacrifice fly by Brian Dozier. But that play right there opened up the door for a couple of runs for the Twins.
And Mauer aboard on a leadoff walk. So now Eddie Rosario, who's 1 for 3. Barrios stunned for the night, and the Blue Jays will take a crack at the Minnesota bullpen, but hoping Axford can keep it at a 2-run deficit. Curveball's high. Blue Jays have turned 1 double play tonight, a 4-6-3 double play back in the 5th. Another curveball high.
Rosario is a very good fastball hitter. You're going to have to throw that fastball in a good spot now that you're behind 2-0. He's got the good sink to it, so he can get the ground ball.
Fastball, swing and a miss, 2-1.
Did that swing look like Rosario was trying to hit a home run? He's got to call timeout after that swing.
Mauer being held on by Smoke. And out of play, 2-2. Well, missed with a couple of curveballs and then in effect beat him with a couple of fastballs. See what Axford has in mind on the 2-2 pitch.
Lock him up with another good hard fastball. He has thrown multiple innings this year. This is nothing new coming out for his 2nd inning.
Boy, a good pick there by Martin. Now with a short lead. Axford ready. Runner is going, and it swung on and bounced into right field for a base hit. And with the benefit of being on the move, Mauer comes around to third.
Sounded like he might have broke his bat with that pitch, but Rosario, I guess, is right. Looked like Travis was going to cover on the steal. The ball, excuse me, the shortstop was covering, and they get it by Travis into the outfield. So that leadoff walk is now at third base with nobody out.
So the Twins threatening to add to their 2-run lead. And they're right in the middle of their order as well. Brian Dozier is up. Eduardo Escobar's on deck.
Be careful with this first pitch to Dozier. He was looking for something inside, wasn't he?
Pete Walker on the phone down to the bullpen. There's your inside strike, and it's 0-2 with Aaron Loup now throwing in the bullpen. Loup went 2/3 of an inning through just a dozen pitches in last night's game. Infield creeping in for the Blue Jays. First and third, nobody out. And Russell Martin thought it was strike 3. I think John Axford thought it was strike 3. I think Pat Tabler thought it was strike 3.
Yeah, PitchCast thinks it's strike 3 also. Dozier is looking for some kind of off-speed pitch. He's thrown 3 fastballs right by him. And the Blue Jays don't get the call.
Curveball misses high, 2-2. And whenever Martin, extends his glove towards the mound, it's him telling the pitcher, the guy behind me missed it. I think it was a strike.
That was a good pitch.
Although PitchCast did not have that one as a strike, as you can see. Either way, it's even up at 2-2. Fouled back.
Over the last 2.5 weeks, the 2 best teams in baseball hitting with runners in scoring position are right here. Twins have been number 1. The Blue Jays have been number 2. So they need to make a good pitch here.
Slider down and away, and it's a full count now on Dozier, with Loup continuing to warm. The on deck hitter Escobar is a switch hitter, but he's got much better numbers this year from the left side. So John Gibbons looks like he may be electing to turn Escobar around to the right side and have Loup come in to face him. But first, we'll see what happens between Axford and Dozier.
Rosario can run. They might elect to try it and stay out of the double play here.
Not going. And an awkward swing and a miss by Dozier for out number 1.
That hole at bat, it looked like he was looking for an off-speed pitch from John Axford, and he wasn't going to give it to him. Comes right after him with that nasty fastball in the outside corner, and Dozier still looking for a breaking ball, swings through it.
And Axford will stay to face Escobar. Runners at first and third with 1 out. And the middle infielders backing up just a bit and sliding around to their left towards the right side of the diamond. Escobar 1 for 3, hit his major league leading 37th double back in the 6th.
It's really interesting. Gurriel is telling Solarte, hey, if you get a ground ball, I'm going to be the guy at second base to turn 2. And now Solarte is trying to get some direction from the dugout. They got to cover up that hole on the right side, and that's why Travis is exaggerating his position. So if Escobar gets beat and happens to hit a ground ball to third baseman, you can see Louis Rivera. He's telling his infielders where to go with the ball if the ball is hit here, what to do with it. But it's going to be Gurriel covering on a ground ball to the left side. Very interesting.
And a lot closer to second base than Travis is. Meanwhile, 2-0. Escobar's been a great hitter in the clutch for the Twins this year. He's hitting .385 with runners in scoring position. That's the 5th best in the majors.
Adding to some of the best numbers in baseball for the Twins team.
Now to play again, 2-2.
He's hard to defend. He'll pull that inside pitch. The ball away from him. He'll slap it the other way. He's become a pretty good RBI man. You can see he's upset with himself. He thought he should have had that pitch. He's driven in 60 runs now with a couple of RBIs in last night's game.
Big pitch coming here, 2-0. First and third, 1 out, 8th inning. Leaning at first, Rosario. He's running. Pitches ball 3, the throw down, and they don't get him as he slid around behind the tag of Gurriel, and it's a stolen base for Rosario, taking the double play out of the equation.
Yeah, I thought they'd try and do something to stay out of that double play. Rosario with a nifty slide. Look at this. Around and then holds on to the bag to stop his momentum. That's his 7th steal of the season. Now the infield has to come in. You know who Escobar has reminded me of lately, last couple of years? Jose Ramirez from the Indians. Short swing and some hidden power in that swing.
3-2 bounce foul. Well, we showed the extra base hits leaders in the American League earlier. Lindor, Ramirez, Escobar, not the biggest guys in the world.
No, but switch hitters and have good at bats, pesky at bats. And if you make a mistake, he's got some pop. He's hit 14 home runs this year.
John Axford needed only 7 pitches to get 3 outs in the 7th. He's thrown 25 pitches already here in the top of the 8th. Infield in for the Blue Jays. And this one is well hit to right field. Granderson will watch it go. Home run number 15 for Escobar, blows it open as Minnesota now leads 5-0.
See what I mean? He reminds me of Ramirez with that short swing, and he's an RBI guy. Doesn't look like your typical number 4 hitter, your cleanup hitter, but he's been cleaning up tonight and so far in this series. He kept fouling off those hard two-seam fastballs and then got a breaking ball to his liking. Watch how he realizes it, stays back, and just lifts it out of the ballpark. 3 big runs for Minnesota on one swing of the bat.
And the end of the night for John Axford. 5-0 Twins. Left-hander Aaron Loup on his way in from the bullpen.
All season long, we celebrate unstoppable kids in Jay's Care programs. Visit jayscare.com/unstoppablekids to support and learn more. Dan.
All right, Hazel, thank you. Aaron Loop is the third pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays.
Aaron worked in last night's ball game, 2/3 of an inning, gave up a couple of hits. Opponents hit it now 306 against Aaron. There are the numbers in his 46 games this season. He will turn Robbie Grossman, the batter, around, and he'll hit right-handed now.
Grossman 1 for 3, hit an RBI double his last time up. By the way, Tabby, we're starting to hear, and again, it's not been confirmed yet, but starting to hear reports of who's going back to Baltimore for Zach Britton. 3 minor leaguers out of the Yankee system, the most notable of whom is apparently Dylan Tate, who was a starting pitcher at Double-A Trenton. 24-year-old and a former first-round pick back in 2015.
So it's out there that there's a good chance that could happen
Sounds
tonight.
like it. Sounds like Zach Britton is unofficially a New York Yankee. Dave Dombrowski, your move.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see that all over baseball over the next week. This team does this, which reacts to this, and the longer you can wait and hold on to your guy, maybe someone is willing to pay a higher price.
Loop strikes out Grossman, 2 down. I keep waiting for the Cubs to really make a splash, do something in that National League Central. Still got a week.
I think there's a lot of teams, especially in the National League. Cubs. How about Arizona? I mean, they did the big thing last year by picking up JD Martinez, helped them get into the playoffs. Atlanta has a lot of prospects that if they want to trade them, they could use an extra starter, they can use an extra bullpen guy, they can use a third baseman.
A ground ball over the head of Loop by Kepler. Travis, another play, but this time can't get him. Kepler just runs too well.
Doesn't look like the Blue Jays are going to make an effort to take a look at this one. Right over the mound, and Kepler is thinking base hit. Evan Travis has made that play 3 times tonight. And that time Kepler runs too well. I thought Gurriel had a chance at maybe cutting across here, but then he stopped. And that made it a little bit tougher for Travis.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd like to ask, say, Luis Rivera tomorrow. There have been a couple of those balls where Gurriel is backing up Travis. He's ceding ground to Travis. And obviously, just like the third baseman can cut in front of the shortstop because his momentum's going to first, the shortstop can cut in front of the second baseman because his momentum's going in the right direction.
Easier throw,
yeah,
and a shorter throw.
Yeah.
It looked like he had a chance to go and get that one and just take control.
Now 3-0 on Taylor Motter, the right fielder. And a strike. 3-1. Looks to be a few inches off the plate, but 3 balls and a strike now on Motter. 5-0 Minnesota. The 3-run home run by Eduardo Escobar. A big game changer here in the top of the 8th. And now a fly ball to very shallow center, really a pop up, and Travis backpedaling to make the play. He has had a busy night. To the bottom of the 8th here at Rogers Center, and the Twins are going to the bullpen. Right-hander Trevor Hildenberger on his way in. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell with Kevin Barker in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Minnesota's primary setup man last August, then through the end of last season. He's been unscored upon in 22 of his last 25 appearances. There are his numbers in 45 games. Hard to pick the ball up. It's a sinker, slider, changeup, but he throws it from a three-quarter angle, with gets a lot of movement on the ball. A lot of ground balls when he is on. He hasn't had a lot of luck against the Blue Jays in his career. His ERA is over 5 against the Blue Jays. So let's see if there's another comeback in the making for Toronto.
Randal Grichuk leads off the inning. And there's the movement on that pitch. That sinker, and Grichuk kind of smiling and talking about it with Bobby Wilson. Had to do everything that he could. A lot of gymnastics to get out of the way of that pitch. Meanwhile, Joey Votto has broken up the no-hit bid in the bottom of the 7th in Cincinnati. Grichuk, Travis, and Granderson here in the bottom of the 8th. Whoa. Change up, 77, down and in, strike 3.
Beauty Tone is the official paint of the Toronto Blue Jays, only available at Home Hardware. Here's how.
Bottom of the 8th inning, and Minnesota trying to make it 2 in a row over the Blue Jays, and in pretty good shape right now. Up 5-0 bottom 8. Devin Travis 0 for 2. The Blue Jays have just 4 hits tonight, 3 singles and a double. Jose Barrios, the starter for Minnesota, walked only 1. Haven't been a lot of opportunities really for the Blue Jays. The best shot they had was back in the 2nd when they had runners at 1st and 3rd with 1 down, but couldn't cash them in.
A couple of strikeouts from Barrios, who had an outstanding night tonight.
And there's a base hit. Travis is aboard. Meanwhile, in the Blue Jay pen, right-hander Xian Juan O is now throwing.
That's Devin's strength right there, shooting that ball the other way. He had a couple of hits in last night's game. He has raised his average since the end of May, not the last 2 months, 100 points.
Top of the order, Curtis Granderson is 0 for 3. A pop-up, a strikeout, and a ground out. Shift on, 3 on the right side for the Twins. Outfielders play him slightly to pull as well.
Hildenberger will get his share of ground ball outs. He used to throw right over the top. In 2014, he was at Cal Berkeley. He was over the top, and now he's dropped his arm down, and you can see he gets a lot of sink and a lot of movement.
Did you like facing guys like this?
Hated it. Hated it. Much better for lefties. I always felt lefties could see right-handed sidearmers. Right-handed hitters, it was awful. Just had no idea where the ball was going or where it was coming from. I mean, you're trained to see the ball out of the shoulder, right shoulder. Now you got to set your sights down. And with this guy, the ball's liable to go anyway.
Sharply hit, forced the lead runner, and back to first in time. The Twins will turn the double play, and that ends the bottom of the 8th. their all-star lineup.
Eduardo Escobar came into his own last year with Minnesota, hitting 21 home runs and driving in 73 runs. Those are career highs. He's going to break that this year. This is his 15th home run, a 3-run home run just last inning, just over the wall in right field. Escobar with 15 home runs, 63 RBIs. That's tonight's drive of the game.
New pitcher for the Blue Jays, right-hander Xianhuan Oh.
Pretty good numbers for O, and he's been pitching much better lately. It's the first time that we have seen him in this series. He pitched twice in that Baltimore series, an inning and a third, didn't give up anything. He did have his streak snapped of at least one strikeout. 13 straight appearances, he had at least one strikeout. That was snapped in his last time to the mound against Baltimore. That was 3 days ago, an inning, but it was scoreless. Only threw 10 pitches and got 3 outs.
And another guy who probably is getting some interest from contenders. He's had a good year. He's got an option, a team option for next year, which either the Blue Jays, or if they were to trade him, whatever team picked him up, they could exercise that. So a little bit of a different situation than a pure rental.
Yeah, he's reliable. You know, at the beginning of the season, he didn't have any spring training, and you just didn't see the arm strength or the movement on his breaking ball. Lately, his command has been better. Breaking ball's been better. His fastball's been good. He's durable. He comes in and he plays, and you can pitch him a lot. And the Blue Jays have pitched him a lot. This is his 48th game.
Breaking ball popped up, third base side. Foul territory, Solarte. One down. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. All right, interesting game going on there in Cincinnati. Here 5-0. The Twins lead the Blue Jays. Top 9. Bobby Wilson, the batter, he's 0 for 3.
Suarez was the guy who hit the home run in the 9th inning to tie it yesterday. Looks like an instant replay, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know, Tabby, you look at appearances for pitchers in the American League. You mentioned how often O is pitched. The Blue Jays have 3 in the top 11 in appearances in the American League in Clippard, O, and Luke. Part of the reason, not all of it, but part of the reason is the starting pitching just hasn't gotten deep enough into games, forcing John Gibbons' hand more often. He's had to go to the bullpen a lot.
I think it's not just a Blue Jay thing. That's a pretty good pitch right there. It's not just a Blue Jay thing. I think it's a baseball thing. I had this discussion the other day with Buck Showalter about all of the decisions are going to the relievers now. O has won 4 games and he's saved 2 out of the pen. There's a good pitch there too. But because the relievers throw 5 or 6 innings, the game is usually determined in the 7th, 8th, or 9th, and the relievers are the ones getting all the wins and losses and saves, all the decisions. It's all around baseball.
Great movement on that breaking ball, and 2 down now here in the top of the 9th. Top of the order, Joe Mauer 0 for 3 with a walk.
I think that just reinforces, Dan, what we were talking about, the bullpen getting all the decisions. If that trade is true with the Yankees and Zach Britton, I think they're ahead of the curve.
Well, listen, the Royals had a very, very deep bullpen when they won the World Series, although the Yankees have taken it to a new level with what they're doing these days. And, you know, when a team does well with a certain blueprint, other teams try to imitate, try to copy that to see if it'll work as Ryan Presley starts to throw for Minnesota.
It's nothing new. I mean, it's been around for a long time. The Blue Jay teams in the early 90s that won World Series, those were 5-inning games.
Fly ball to left field. And Hernandez there. Mauer retired. And has himself a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Blue Jays coming up down 5-0.
Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
Bottom 9 in Rogers Center. Dan Schulman, Pat Tabler. Twins 5, Blue Jays nothing. Right-hander Ryan Presley is on.
Well, you mentioned the games. This is going to be Ryan Presley's 50th game of the season, putting up some big numbers. 67 strikeouts in those 46 innings for Presley. Tied for third in all of baseball with those 49 appearances.
And Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who's already 2 for 3 on the night, leads off the inning. He'll be followed by Justin Smoke and Teoscar Hernandez. The Blue Jays with just 5 hits on the night. Gurriel with 2 of them. Really shut down by Jose Barrios tonight. Urban Santana, Sam Gaviglio tomorrow. We asked John Gibbons before the game about Aledmus Diaz being out of the lineup again today. Second day in a row that he's out because he's kind of been going in a rotation with Travis, Diaz, Gurriel, and that line drive that Diaz caught at third a couple of nights ago, or a couple of days ago, I guess Sunday afternoon, kind of stung his left thumb, and yesterday was having some trouble gripping the bat. Better today, but they decided to hold him out for one more day.
Yeah, just give him one more day. He might be in there tomorrow. This is it right here. The ball ripped to him. This is the first play after he moved over to third base, and he checked that thumb right away, and he just couldn't grip a bat or field a ground ball. So he's been out the last couple of days.
2-2 pitch sent high in the air to right field, and a lot of room out there for Motter to make the grab one down. For a preview of Sportsnet Central, here are Ken and Ivanka. All right, guys, thank you. Look forward to that and more coming up. Big news on the baseball front, as it appears the New York Yankees have acquired Zach Britton from the Baltimore Orioles to bolster what was already the deepest bullpen in the game. Justin Smoke with a ground ball. And he is retired for the second out, and now the Twins are an out away from making it 2 in a row. That was Polanco, the shortstop, making the play for the second out. Twins an out away from making it 2 in a row over the Blue Jays, a team they've had a lot of trouble beating over the last decade or so.
Yeah, this is a team Minnesota in 15 and 16, 2015 and 16, didn't win a game in this ballpark. Last year they finally won the series here at Rogers Center, and it looks like they're going to win the series this year. You mentioned that bullpen for New York, the deepest. How about the hardest throwing?
Yeah.
Now they're adding another hard thrower.
Teoscar Hernandez is 0 for 3. And a good breaking ball in there for a strike, and it's 0-2 now on Hernandez. And a swing and a miss to end the ball game. A 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Presley in the 9th. And Minnesota uses 3 pitchers to shut the Blue Jays out tonight and beat them 5-0 to take the first 2 games here in this series.
Yeah, got to be able to score here. The Blue Jays couldn't do it. They were up against their ace and all-star Barrios, but an underrated bullpen for Minnesota at least the first 2 nights here. The big blow, that home run by Escobar blowing this game open. There he is right there with his 15th home run. Blue Jays trying to salvage at least 1 game tomorrow afternoon.
3:30 broadcast start. First pitch just after 4 o'clock. Time now for Sportsnet Central. Back to the studio again with Ken and Ivanka.